extravaganza now. It's time to go through the papers this morning with Olympic athlete Chris Akabusi, living legend, and another one down the end there looking very resplendent in that box jacket, gotta say.
I wonder what's happening this week.
We've had quite a lot of criticism on the GB News inbox about our decorations and our trees. So
specifically our balls.
Adorn your decoration for us today.
Thank you very much.
Exactly, she lifts us all up.
The Christmas
And
fairy.
you got a little piece of red. I've hid my red under my...
Is that... I meant to ask.
What is that?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was going to be cold when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I thought wrong, so I'm sweltering, but don't worry.
That's actually like a superhero outfit, just waiting to come out.
Exactly. Red cloak.
Out a bit. All right.
Right, so sorry that our Christmas decorations, for some of you, aren't quite up to scratch. Our paper review will be much better, I'm sure. Chris, let's start with you if we can. In the Mail, and international story, and it sounds really alarming. Desperate Putin sends in the clowns, and that's not a play on words.
No, 100%. I mean, when you think about this year, what happened in February and the war in Ukraine, it's just an incredible year, and we could never have thought it'd be happening. But anyway, Putin, who was supposed to be able to roll through Ukraine in 10 days, has found out that 300 days later, he's still there, and there's low morale in the troops. So he decided to have a clown battalion of musicians, circus performers and artists. Now, when you're a soldier, and you're in a theatre of war, you do need R&R, rest and recuperation, and it would be great if this was part and parcel of the R&R policy, but actually it's not. What's happened is that the soldiers, Russian soldiers this is, who thought they were going to roll through Ukraine and have this victory, 10 months later are stuck there and are really demotivated. So his idea is this fragile morale will get boosted by his performers, but it won't, you know, because you can't deflect. Sorry, I've forgotten. The UK Ministry of Defence said the efforts of the newly established brigade were unlikely to substantively alleviate problems with morale. And that is because soldiers are concerned, primary focus, with high casualty rates, pay problems, lack of equipment and ammunition, lack of clarity of what the objectives are. So you've got to get the basics right. So whereas normally we would have R&R, you know exactly what you're there for and what you're trying to deliver. So nice idea, Mr. Putin, but I'm not quite sure it's going to work.
I think they need a bit more than a few clowns and
well, they've got a clown in Mr. Putin, but there you go.
When I was out in Bosnia covering that conflict out there, one of the papers sent out some page 3 girls who shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
And that went down a storm. Yeah. And the lads were all getting the girls to sign various things. And there was one chap who asked her to sign a part of his anatomy.
Yeah.
And she could actually get her full name on it by the time.
Well,
you know what? That's something that happened to me when I was a youngster. I was
good old family entertainment on GBNEWS.
Yes.
I was coming out of Stoke. Was working in Stoke, and I got to the traffic lights, and this lady.
Where are we going here, Chris?
Should we just put?
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Okay.
Christmas. But it's also 7:45 in the morning.
You're very well done. Well done, Rosie.
Let's talk about one of our top stories, strikes. Of course, in the Mail, a little bit earlier on in the story we've just been looking at, page 6 and 7. The quote here, don't have a fall or call 999 on strike day.
Well, this is the Wednesday strike by the ambulance service, and they are warning the elderly who fall at home and women in late stages of labour might not be sent ambulances if they need them. But basically, it boils down to a category. The ambulance services are saying they will respond to category 1 call-outs, which is like literally you are on death's door. Category 3 covers elderly people who have a fall, broken legs, etc., and women who are obviously in labour. And they can't guarantee they will send ambulances out to them. So this is actually, I mean, what you're meant to do. I mean, you will do these amazing stories of people jumping in their cars and driving down the motorways to get pregnant women to hospital. But I mean, it's just like, this is almost like...
You know, Dawn, as a former newspaper editor yourself, you know exactly how the public think about things like this. Do you think that the public mood is starting to calcify against these strikes? Because if people start dying with unable to get an ambulance...
I think if there is a proven case of somebody losing their life over this, then I think public sympathies will turn quite quickly. I think at the moment the nurses have an incredible amount of support. Obviously the rail workers maybe not so much now, especially seeing as so many of them are willing to accept an offer, but the unions still seem keen on taking it.
The nurses, what I think sometimes gets lost in this story is they're also talking about conditions.
Yes,
and they're
of course.
saying, actually, I've got one contact close to me who works in a children's ward who says, I'm really scared by the conditions that are in here, and I'd be really nervous if one of my friends or family had children who got sent here because we don't have the right equipment, the right staffing to look after them properly.
No, this is absolutely the situation. I mean, but that is not going to be solved overnight by a strike where somebody who falls over, an elderly person falls over, breaks a leg and is left lying, if we have another cold snap, in freezing temperatures for hours on end, or a pregnant woman who's having complications during birth.
And what we've got then, if we go to the Times, Chris, if we can, just for time, soldiers stepping in and taking place of maybe driving ambulances, troops ready for duties, it says here. Is it appropriate that our armed forces should be filling these positions?
Well, so the military are always on standby. They call it military aid to civilian authorities. They're always on standby, always playing different scenarios for when the civilian structure breaks down irrevocably.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the place of last resort. What the military is saying is, don't factor us in as an additional resource, so that you factor us in to be there, because that's not appropriate. And we've actually got a role to play in defending the realm.
I actually feel quite comforted by stories like this sometimes, because it's just really lovely to know that squaddies can step in and take care of us in our hour of need.
Yeah,
and on the bright side, you know.
Yeah, but the £10 million a week that they're saying it will cost is the retraining, because when you're a squaddie, you're used to close quarter battle.
Yeah.
You're used to airfield ambulances. If we talk about NHS, whatever, you're used to driving over the Hulu, out in the woods. But in civilian world, it's completely different. So they've got to retrain before they can deploy. So again, £10 million a week. Well, could that be a part of the money that goes across? This is not just politics. Not economics, it's politics. The political decision, why would you spend £10 million a week there, and all the other areas that you're spending money, when you could actually spend it on the risers and make people happy to do their job?
And you know what, Chris, I mean, you've served, so you've served in the armed forces, but, a lot of people in the armed forces are not well paid themselves.
No.
They work incredibly hard.
And they can't go on strike.
And they can't go on strike.
No, you're right. I mean, when you join the army, there are probably 1,000 reasons for people joining the army. But when I joined the army, it wasn't really about pay. I didn't even think about that. Safety, security, place to belong. It was about being in a family. It was about, the structure and regimentation. It was about knowing that whatever happens at the end of the day, I'm not going to get kicked out of the streets. Actually, the worst thing is that someone can serve his or her country for 22 years and then get kicked out of the street and be sleeping under bridges. Now, that is something we need to sort out as well.
Yeah.
Should we talk about something much more positive, Chris, if we can? In the Star, there's a newsagent opening on Christmas Day for people who feel lonely. Tell us more.
This is brilliant. A lovely picture of Sashi and Paula Patel and their family and their children. And they've been doing this. Is not like riding on the back of trauma. They do this every year. They've been doing it for the last decade. And they're saying, don't be cold, don't be lonely, come in, chat, have society. And the missus, I don't know who's says, look, samosas on tap, tea on tap, society interaction on tap. And I love this. This is the British spirit.
Yeah.
This is, Dawn represents us in the glittering, and this is the public doing their bit. I just think this is fantastic.
To be fair, putting on this jacket was nothing like what a lot of, not just this, but a lot of news agents at this time of year do supply a very good community service. Our local news agents is open over the Christmas period as well. And we've got a lot of elderly people near us, and they go in there for a chat and sort of like, it's just a nice, it's a lovely story. story. So much doom and gloom in the news. So let's have some fun, nice story.
Well, another fun story here that you've chosen, Dawn. Some thong like you, Adele, is releasing lingerie.
This absolutely is a chance to get in Adele's knickers. Can I
Oh, leave it.
Come on, it's Christmas, it's Panto.
Oh, no, it isn't. so.
Behind you,
Yeah,
my
there you
career,
go, there you
obviously.
go, there you
I'll let you know, Dawn, one of the producers just said to me, let's keep it civil.
There we go.
My request behind the table.
Me?
So what is Adele doing?
Okay, on a serious note, right, Adele, who is a singer, she is out in Las Vegas until March at Caesar's Palace, and she has also applied to license, trademark a range of products, which include underclothing. Clean enough?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Underclothing, watches, luggage, headgear, bags, backpacks, wallets, and key fobs. But when you think Rihanna, who has also launched a very successful lingerie range and now makes more money from her lingerie than she does her singing career, you can't blame Adele for doing it.
Yep.
Would you be a customer?
I do like Rihanna's stuff, I must admit. Very, very sexy. I mean, we don't know. I mean, Adele has been approached for comment about whether it will include lingerie. She's copyrighted it. We don't actually know that it's happening, but it's a good headline. Come on.
It's true, it certainly is.
That sort of thing that would interest you?
Well, if I decide to self-identify
Let's be keeping this clean.
if I decide to self-identify as a lady one day, I might go have a little knock on Adele's drawers. Excuse the pun about Adele's drawers, and ask for some tips to make sure I've got the right kit on.
Or it might be something that you'd be buying as a Christmas present for someone else.
Rosie, you're fabulous.
I didn't mean you cross-dressing. I meant a gift.
Okie dokie, there you go. Big itch.
Are you ready for Christmas?
No, not at all.
How much is left to be done?
Well, I've got the tree down. It needs to be put up.
Down?
Yeah,
From the loft?
Oh, yeah. I used to have these pine trees and stuff, but there's nothing worse when everyone leaves and you've got all of these leaves that tell me...
Is it a no-drop one, Chris?
No, there's no.
Okay, so the tree's down to go up.
Yeah.
Presents bought?
Some presents, but I've got daughters, elder daughters, 38, and so I'll be giving them a call, maybe even today. Shats, can you help the old man out? Because I've got grandchildren.
And you have to buy in person probably, because if you want to do anything by delivery now, some of those dates have gone because, of course,
Well, I was really clever. So I've got some already, but I've got Amazon. Oops. So I've got vouchers.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I've got vouchers. I've got some vouchers, so my kids can go on and get the vouchers, and then I put some money in the bank account, and then we can go out in the New Year sales. Come with the old man, and let's rock this joint.
I actually want to know what kind of balls you've got.
Hey, sparkly ones.
Dawn is on her
She's on fire. Dawn's on fire.
Dawn,
Desperately trying to keep it clean here, Rosie, aren't you? I can say it.
thank you very much to both of you.